There's a brand new episode of the DJ's Aviation podcast. You can go and listen to it over on audio streaming platforms such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Now though, it's time for Aviation News Weekly, or an Aviation News recap video, where I take a look at some of the more talked about stories that didn't get their own video here on the channel, a series that many of you do like. From coverage at Etihad Airways, Spirit Airlines, Qantas, there's so much to cover, so let's not waste any further time and get underway. Etihad Airways has revealed that it will be upgrading its presence in Indonesia from October 2023. The carrier will boost its service to Jakarta to a double daily later this year, an essential step up for the airline and its commitment to Indonesia as a destination. Jakarta is the largest city in Southeast Asia and is home to over 10 million people. Etihad Airways believes their double daily service will offer better connectivity. In addition, there'll be the opportunity to experience Indonesia's rich history, culture, and more. Etihad Airways is delighted to boost air connectivity between Abu Dhabi and Indonesia, one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Our new flight has been optimized to arrive in Abu Dhabi in the morning, giving travelers from Indonesia a head start to explore the attractions of our vibrant capital city, comments from the Chief Revenue Officer at the airline. Etihad Airways says that the flight will be operated by its Boeing 787 and Boeing 777 aircraft. Moving on to our next story of the day, and it surrounds Vietnam Airlines, who are not always that present here on the channel, but naturally play a very important role in the global aviation sector, especially when taking a look at developments in and out of Vietnam. Well, they announced a fourth quarter after-tax loss of USD 75 million. Meanwhile, full-year losses for the 2022 financial year stretched to a staggering USD 430.3 million. This reported loss comes down to various problems the airline experienced during the year, notably with increased fuel prices only raising the operating costs that they faced. In addition, the carrier blamed the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine that negatively impacted their business. The reality is also they wouldn't be the first airline in the industry to cite these as reasons for their obviously poor financial position. It's something being seen widely across the industry. However, at the end of the day, it affects every airline differently. Some may report losses more than others, and some may actually report profits, but just say that it could have been higher. 2022 was a strong year actually in terms of passengers carried for Vietnam Airlines. It grew from 6 million to 18 million, and with that, revenue also increased. However, the continued external factors that represent the industry's current climate highlight how challenging it actually can be to break even. Vietnam Airlines remains hopeful that 2023 will be a better year as they look to stabilize their business and increase recovery/rebuilding processes. Included in this is finding a way to really drop the overall operating costs, whether that means reducing the aircraft in their fleet or potentially even their route network for the time being to try and consolidate and bring down those costs, like I mentioned. Restructuring is something that has taken place at several airlines globally in recent years. It's not a foreign thing to be done. While it's not a guarantee it will have positive results, what it can do for the customer in question is offer them a chance to reevaluate what's necessary and what's unnecessary, and hopefully move forward in the future with a more robust and stable business. Per Cirium data, Vietnam Airlines has 88 aircraft currently in service, with 10 in storage. The airline only has 3 aircraft on order, representing 3% of its total and future fleet. This obviously a positive if you're trying to bring down the costs. The last thing they'll be looking at doing is probably welcoming in new planes. Now over to Australian flag carrier Qantas, which has continued its business expansion, if you will, by furthering a code-sharing agreement with India's low-cost Indigo. The partnership actually began in August 2022 and has seen resounding success according to the pair. This hence warrants a further expansion onto the code-share agreement. Several new cities within India have been added to the agreement between the two airlines and received much positive feedback from customers of both carriers and citizens of the two countries. Indigo is currently in the process of rolling out a major network expansion. Their goal is to connect regions in India better and make travel accessible to the masses. something that a low-cost carrier certainly has the ability of doing within the aviation industry. The Indian aviation sector has really become hotly contested recently, with many new airlines joining the scene. This pushes existing carriers to adapt and find new solutions to succeed in the market. If they're unable to do such a thing, well, then problems will really hit them, and we've seen that with various Indian carriers that were too slow to keep up, or maybe had too many internal problems preventing them from being largely successful. Per Cirium data, Qantas operates for January 2023 17 flights into Bangalore, amounting to 4,437 seats. Meanwhile, only 18 flights into Delhi. This is actually a decrease from the 78 that featured in January 2022, 1 year prior. Now over to US-based Delta. Delta has announced a landmark service from Los Angeles to Auckland. Auckland is New Zealand's largest city, and from October 28, 2023, the US airline will connect the city with Los Angeles, utilizing its A350-900s. LAX continues to grow its global network of destinations that are connecting Los Angeles to every corner of the globe. And Delta's addition of non-stop services from Los Angeles to New Zealand is in lockstep with the airline's commitment to expand and improve service to our region, the chief executive officer commented. The daily service will improve New Zealand's connection with the US and onward, thanks to Delta's expansive US domestic network and European flights. The airline bets on seamless transfers for a country typically isolated. Los Angeles is a global hub for destination. This is very much thanks to the airlines that serve the airport and the equipment used. The possibility for routes are limitless. Services to Sydney and Tahiti have also been frequently mentioned during this announcement. The Auckland service will be set to complement these long-haul destinations. Delta joins other major US carriers in serving Auckland from this. On to our final story of the day. Spirit Airlines, a low-cost carrier in the United States, has announced it will sell 29 of its A319ceos. Groupon Aviation Leasing has expertise in acquiring, trading, and leasing aircraft, focusing on both narrow-body and wide-body planes. Spirit Airlines intends to sell the aircraft to this aviation leasing company as they want to revolutionize their narrow-body operation, and removing these older ceos is part of their plans. Per Cirium data, the airline actually has 31 A319s on order, while currently operating 31 A319-100s. While the airline will sell 29 units, the remaining 2 CEO aircraft are on a lease and will be eventually returned to their respective lessor. This is expected to take place in 2025. An aggregate price has been determined for the sale of the A319ceos, valued at USD 152 to 201 million. The departure of the A319ceos is expected to commence from Q1 2023 and conclude in Q3 2024. What are your thoughts on the latest news covered in today's aviation news recap? Remember, if you enjoy this longer form aviation news content, please do let me know down below in the comments as I continue to trial different things with the channel and see what people really do enjoy. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you next time.